But I feel like I'm being interviewed by you. Just like your face popped up on the screen, and I was like,
Slightly
I
different way.
didn't realize it was UFC
It's
fighter.
it's like a role reversal, mate. Normally, I'm the one asking the questions or host them, but
Yeah,
happy to be you, mate.
it was at number four, and I was like trying to ask them questions. No, the first time I had Dan Lester,
Hmm.
I was trying to ask him questions, and he was asking me stuff, and it was just like, yeah, just different.
Dan's perfect though, mate, because Dan will give as much as he gets back, type of thing. So you'll have a real conversation with him.
Oh yeah, nah, Dan's great. Yeah,
Yeah,
nah, he asked Dan a question, you'll be talking for like 15 minutes, and it's just nah, obviously, yeah, Dan's great. I love him, man.
yeah, superb, mate.
Yeah, nah, I'm excited about the yeah, obviously Cage Warriors event next few days. Like,
It's come around, hasn't it? Like, they seem to come around pretty quick, considering it's about 12 weeks since the last one.
yeah, but even though
Yeah,
it sort of goes without saying, but it does feel like it's the best fighters in Europe competing, if you know what I mean. Obviously it is because it's Cage Warriors, but it certainly feels like that when we see what some of the matchups.
yeah, 100%, mate. Yeah, yeah. Where do you want to start?
Huh? Oh, I have started.
No, I mean,
that was
where
that was me
do
starting.
you want to start on the card? I meant
All
on the
right,
card.
right. I
Sorry,
was going to
mate.
ask you which fight you're most looking forward to. I know what
Um,
mine is.
quite obviously, I've got. Just give me 1 second. Quite obviously, I've got a little bit of bias, haven't I? With Jack and Justin. Jack's obviously, I say he's almost the main event of the trilogy, if you like. And I know he's main event Saturday, but he's main event of the whole 3 days. Other than that, I'm really excited to see Nathan Fletcher because he is somebody who really impresses me.
Yeah,
And I'm also excited for tomorrow night with Bonner and Matthias Frederick.
yeah. It's funny because Jack Grant, Ian Gary, that's the fight I'm most looking forward to.
You can't knock, can you? Because they've both got so much about them in different ways. Jack is obviously Mr. Nice Guy. He's just a joy to be around, and
Yeah,
Ian Gary is Mr. Confident, isn't he? You know.
yeah, yes. And I just can't decide who I think's gonna like. I can just see it going either way as well. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, 100%, mate. Yeah, I think a lot of people are overlooking Jack, and as I say, I'm gonna go straight off the bat. I've got a bias, but think about it like this: Jack Grant has as many losses on his record as Ian Gary has fights.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. I feel like because Jack's got them losses, he felt like he's not he's not like Ian Gary's always going to be like so sure of himself because he hasn't lost yet, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
Or Jack's just got that experience behind him, which is I feel like that's important to have.
Jack said to me, he said, "I remember when I was 6-0. I remember it. You feel untouchable. You feel like you can't be beaten." Ian Gary's a little bit more special, isn't he? Because he is uber confident as opposed to your average 6-0 fighter. But at the same time, Jack is an advantage.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
want to
like one
hear
of the
this?
things about like. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, do you want to hear the stats? So I had a little bit of a look at Ian Gary's opponents. Ian Gary's last four opponents have had 22 fights between them, and Jack Grant's had 23.
Yeah. Hmm.
Now, I'm not saying the competition hasn't been there, but you look
Yeah.
at people. A couple of fights ago, was Ian Gary was fighting. They maybe weren't the upper
Yeah.
echelon, let's say.
Yeah. Because I definitely see how you're coming out in support of like. But it's fair enough, man.
I,
Being from Liverpool yourself, I can see it.
no, as I say, maybe it's me. Maybe it's me wanting an underdog to win. Maybe it's me trying to think of other ways around it. But at the same time, Ian Gary, has he really been tested? I almost feel like it could be one of them where, in retrospect, in 4 or 5 years' time, when Ian Gary is at the top of the mountain, we look back and go, "Wow, Jack Grant beat him so many years ago." It could be one of them moments, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
So if like one of the things for like Cage Warriors to me is you can see all these guys which think have the potential to go on and be these stars, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It's the grounds where you see these stars rise up and go on to fight in the UFC, go on to fight in Bellator and become champions. And when you look at Ian Gary, you feel like that is this could be the next like. So I'm definitely on the Ian Gary hype train.
oh, 100%.
If
I,
yeah,
I,
because
I am.
he has that element about him where you feel like he could be the next big. You know, he's got the talk. He's got all that about him. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. He's obviously racism aside and saying he's similar to McGregor, but even I think one thing people discount about McGregor's rise is he's a finisher, and that will always attract a casual audience. And I think
Yeah,
Ian Gary's a little bit the same, isn't he? He's highlight reel.
yeah, yeah. I was pretty surprised about how well he did with Rostam Akman as well
Yeah, yeah,
in his last fight.
100%.
Because I say it was obviously Akman did lose both his fights in the UFC, but it is still that step up in opponent who's who's had that experience. He's not scared of the bright lights, and he did still
Yeah,
show up with that
100%.
finish as well again, didn't he?
Knocked him out cold, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, me as well. I was disappointed the obviously the featherweight title fight didn't happen with Vucenic and Morgan Charrier. Yeah, I was nearly said Paul Hughes, but it was Charrier, weren't it? Because I did think Paul Hughes was going to get it after obviously Vucenic basically called him out after he won the title last time. But yeah, didn't happen because it was injury, I think, on Vucenic's part, weren't it? But
Who did you score the first fight for, out of interest?
what's that between Vucenic and
Between Vucenic and Charrier, who did you score the first fight for?
it was Vucenic, yeah,
Did
for
you
me.
go Vucenic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
I,
think, like, obviously, I believe Charrier kept trying to keep it. He was grinding away at him quite a lot, but every time it went back to the feet, just Vucenic just took it, I think.
yeah, very much very, very close fight.
Yeah, it was still a close fight, but for me, it was just slightly edged by Jordan.
Yeah, it's one of them fights, mate, where you can't. It's one of them fights that's close, and whoever loses is going to be disappointed, but you can't really say robbery. If
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah. I feel like that word does sort of get chucked about a lot if someone loses, and it's all it was a
It's
robbery.
like it's like Volkanovski and Holloway. It's like the second one. That wasn't a robbery. That was
That
an
second one
extreme.
was a robbery. It absolutely was a robbery because Holloway was
I
first one.
disagree.
Like, first one, yeah, Volkanovski won that, but like second one,
I agree that he won, but I don't agree that it was a robbery. I think it was a very, very close fight. If we're scoring on, think about it like this,
well,
Joe.
you're wrong for a start.
Okay, but think about it like this. Think about it like this. This is the way I always say it. We're not judging it as one big fight. If we're judging it as one big fight, Holloway wins, no doubt. But we are
Yeah,
judging it as 5 mini little fights. Quite obviously, Holloway wins the first and second mini little fight. And in my opinion, Volkanovski wins the fourth and fifth, quite obviously. That third round is a very, very close round. That's just my opinion. So if we're talking about it from a judgment perspective, it's not a robbery.
when you look at some of the scorecards as well, when they were showing afterwards, I was like, some of them were blindfolded like us. Some of it was. Anyway, back on Cage Warriors. Anyway, I feel
Sorry,
like
mate.
that's the reason why like the featherweight division's like just so interesting at the minute because I feel like we've seen how close they were, but like Paul Hughes, well, I feel like all the top contenders are so sort of evenly matched. If you know what I mean, I feel like any one of them could sort of win on any given night. If you know what I mean.
It feels a little bit to me like that trio of Vucenic, Charrier, and Hughes, as you say. It could be one of them where sometimes with Cage Warriors to get the step up to a UFC or a Bellator, you need to defend the title once or twice. And it could be one of them where the titles pass rounds and it's almost like this trilogy within a trilogy, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, James Hendon is up there as well.
Yes.
So he had the last fight with obviously Paul Hughes won that by decision. But for me, once again, I saw that sort of going either way once again. I thought that was a very tough fight for Hughes. And sorry, go.
Is James Hendon fighting this weekend?
He is. It's Paul McBain, I think, on Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, my mistake. Yeah. Big
But
fight,
like James looked fantastic all the way coming up to that fight with Hughes. All his previous fights, just like dominating all his opponents. I thought he's definitely up there with me. Like I could see him definitely making a big comeback this weekend.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I forgot about him.
Obviously, you're saying Matthew Bonner as well tomorrow night. Matthias Frederick. What are your opinions on that one?
It's difficult to say, isn't it? They've had quite different careers at times. I think when I spoke to Bonner, he mentioned the advantage he feels Frederick has over him, his experience, the fact he's been 5 rounds, and he does think it'll be a struggle to put him away to finish him. So with that being said, he's looking at winning a decision. Obviously, I would probably say, well, I would say the power advantage goes to Frederick. We could maybe say
For me, it is the power Frederick.
Yeah,
it's knockout power.
It's if he hurts Bonner where it goes, because Bonner's got 6 losses on his record, but he's never been stopped. So it's whether he gets hit with something he hasn't been hit with before.
Yeah, I do feel like he's grown from each of those.
Yeah,
you can tell he's obviously become a lot better fighter from each of those. I feel like his last fight definitely showed that as well against former champion. Obviously, I say finishing quicker than Frederick did as well.
He said that as well. He said that he thinks he's in the best form of his career. He feels like he's turned the corner, because I think who was the person he lost to last? Was it Richardson?
Yeah, I think it was, because then Richardson went on to fight Frederick. Didn't obviously.
Yes.
Richardson lost, but it was I believe.
I think his first camp was it was short notice against Richardson. I think he moved in between camps to next gen. So his first three full camps and next gen have all been wins. So he feels like that's made him a big change. I saw him grappling with Paddy, which was quite interesting.
But it must be he felt a bit bigger than Paddy, is he like? Or...
He's a lot bigger, but you probably say jiu-jitsu wise that the advantage goes to Paddy. So it was like, skill versus brawn almost. I won't tell you who won.
I do feel like next gen's doing I do go up on about this a lot, but I do feel like next gen's doing so well at the minute, just in terms of how many guys they've got coming up.
You speak to quite a lot of them, don't you? Who have you spoke to? So is it Adam?
Nathan Fletcher. I think he's definitely one to watch. I think how many finishes he got so far? Has he finished all of it? I think he might have finished all of them so far. 6-0, I believe. He's definitely one to watch for me. I can. I'm definitely on his hype train as well.
100%, mate. Yeah.
Adam Cullen is 1-0, but just a lot of these lads I can. Yeah, they've got a lot of lads coming up at the minute. I can see doing very well in the future.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they're probably in that transition period where, probably with the exception of, if you think about Paddy, Molly, and Matt on one side, and then all the up and comers, probably going to take a couple of years for them to kind of get to where they want to get to. Nathan's probably in that middle part, isn't he? Where 1 or 2 more fights, you could be talking about a title fight.
Absolutely, yeah. What's your chat with Paddy? That was good, mate. It'd be interesting to see how he does in the UFC.
Yeah, it's very exciting, isn't it? Very exciting.
Hope he has a bit of a better start than obviously Mason Jones has done recently, in terms of Cage Warriors champions going on and fighting.
Yeah, sometimes the luck just isn't with you. To be fair, people don't give Mike Davis his credit, but I remember when Mason got maxed up with Mike Davis thing, and that's a very tough fight, because Mike Davis is very, very good, very, very slick. So that was a tough fight to debut with, and then the real bit of bad luck came in the last one, didn't it? Not getting the proper stoppage, if you like.
Yeah. No, Mike Davis. Yeah, his fight on the Contender Series that was hellish. That
Have you ever seen the fight with him and Thomas Gifford?
Don't think so, mate.
I think that was his fight after. That was his fight before Mason's, and he really put it on this Thomas Gifford. Like, it should have been stopped in the end of the first, and it went to, I think, about 20 seconds left in the third. Like, it was like, wow.
Yeah. I'm hoping this is a bit of a little hiccup we've got over Mason Jones. After this, we're all back to easy waters again.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
Yeah, but as the obviously there was a UFC card for September, weren't there? But I don't. Yeah, that was in talks of happening, but I don't think that's happening anymore, is it?
It's my understanding that it was originally meant to be the 14th of August, and then when the lockdown got postponed, the relaxing of the lockdown got postponed, it was moved to the 4th of September. But now it's not looking like there'll be as big of a crowd attendance as they originally thought. So the plan might just be to scrap it.
Yeah. It's disappointing.
Very disappointing, mate. A lot of fighters in this country want to be on that card.
Yeah, I say Paddy on a card with Darren Till. as the main event. That'd be something like.
I asked Paddy that. I don't know if you remember, but I asked him you could potentially debut as the co-main event because of your star power, and Paddy being Paddy, love the sound of that, but it's not. It's not off the realm of possibility. It's really not.
Yeah, I feel like that is quite a big jump, but like
No, it's
you said about the star power because I was talking to someone the other day who's like, you know, quite a very casual, very casual fan, and they knew who Paddy is, Paddy the Baddy. He said, like, and they knew who he was, so he definitely has that star power. Like,
be a big jump, no doubt, mate. But ultimately, it's who puts bums on seats at times, isn't it? And
yeah,
if they can bill it with Till's face at the top and Paddy's at the bottom, it's probably
yeah.
going to sell more tickets than whoever else.
That's why Kobe Covington's getting this next title shot on Leon Edwards, isn't it?
That's it, mate.
It's about viewers.
That's it. That's it
Unfortunately,
sometimes,
but
isn't it?
yeah. See the other title fight on the card as well. Agi Sadari, Joe McColgan. That's obviously I've spoken to Joe recently as well, but that's one I'm looking forward to because I don't know. I enjoy all of Joe's fights. Like in his obviously first round finish after Kieran Lister recently. Obviously had the unlucky loss to Mason Jones in his previous title fight, but I'm thinking it'll be a good one. Like,
I presume you're picking Joe in that one.
yeah, you'll notice if I've spoken to him recently, I'm probably going to pick him.
It's quite difficult. It's quite difficult not to pick someone you've spoke to.
Yeah, yeah. I just feel
The
like
worst one, the
Sadari.
worst.
Sorry, go.
Just going to say the worst one, Joe, is when you speak to both fighters in a fight. That's the
Yeah.
worst one. I don't know if you've had that yet, but when you spoke to two guys who are about to fight,
No. But has one of them caught you out for saying something to the other one? If you're
no,
like,
I've had a couple of times. I had it with Eric Handers and Darren Stewart
yeah,
before they were originally meant to fight. Both guys were great. I'm not going to be one to try and cause a beef or something like that. It's not me. And them two guys were actually really quite respectful
yeah,
over both fights. I think that was well shown. So,
yeah,
but both good guys, and I've got a soft spot for Eric. Eric's a really cool dude. So
yeah,
I'm quite happy to see him get the win.
yeah. Back to the, yeah. No,
We seem to be going off track a little bit, don't we? We'll have to try and keep on track.
no, it's chill, man, it's chill. But I feel like, as I said, I feel like Sadari plays. Obviously, he's got 2 split decisions now, and I feel like that's some like. I feel like he plays it a little bit too safe, if you know what I
Yes.
mean. Sort of, but I think it'll be interesting to see if Joe sort of takes advantage of that. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
It's a bit of a strange one having a champion who won the belt via split and then defended the
Yeah,
belt via split. It doesn't really inspire confidence, does it?
no, no, and it's obviously, yeah, like I said, not something UFC is looking for people, like you're saying earlier, like knockouts and things like that. It's yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking forward to as well, mate.
In a way, he's got with the greatest of respect to him, he's got a little bit going against him because I sometimes feel like European fighters are at a disadvantage in Cage Warriors because it is a UK based promotion. They would probably rather a UK based fighter be the champion
Yeah,
and all of that. And as we've mentioned, he doesn't really have that wow style,
yeah,
does he? He's a little bit conservative. He's a little bit passive at times. So it might be one of them where he needs to rack up 2, 3, 4 title defenses before getting the call. But he beats
yeah,
Joe on Friday. We're already at 2, so he's nearly
yeah.
there.
Do you mean a bit like disadvantages in like in the eyes of the fans is sort of like popularity, or like what sort
Yeah,
of way do you reckon?
in my opinion, unless you're somebody who's super marketable like a Sharia, you might get the push that you necessarily deserve. You as a as a company which operates in the UK, they would probably rather Joe McColgan be champion, where they can, in an
Yeah,
ideal world, have a card with him as the headliner in
yeah,
Ireland, let's say,
yeah,
than Cesare, if that kind of makes sense.
yeah. So for me, Charrier got this rematch because of his French
Yes,
fans and how vocal they are.
yes, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, Jake Hadley vacated his flyweight title now. Don't know, was that today that was released or yesterday?
Yesterday.
To go on fight on the contender series. Yeah, contender. Yeah, I need said Ultimate Fighter, but it's a bit late for that. Like, I thought there was a lot of rumors about that for a while, weren't there? And I thought it was going
Yeah,
to be the Ultimate Fighter, but yeah, that should be exciting to see. Like,
really excited to see him in there, mate, because he's got a real dominant style, hasn't he? And it'd be interesting to see. Is he fighting? He's fighting an American, isn't he? If memory serves.
I'm not. I can't remember who his
I think
opponent
he's.
was.
I
I can't
think
remember.
he's
Yeah,
fighting an American. I think he's fighting a Titan FC champ or something like that. So he's
yeah,
fighting someone who's good. And it will be interesting to see how his style translates over to US based style.
yeah.
Sometimes I think the Brits have a struggle to implement their style in a US based fighter.
That's interesting. How do you think like the styles differ then between like UK and US? Because that's not something I've ever really thought of too much, to be honest.
Well, I suppose from a very, very casual way, you would say predominantly we are more striking based.
Yeah,
There's obvious exceptions to that. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. But
I mean,
you
you got obviously
look
like
at the big,
Mike Grundy is
yeah,
obviously a
yeah.
UK wrestler, but yeah,
Grundy's probably one of few who's wrestling based.
mm,
Even you look at the guys in his gym, the likes of Till and Aspinall. I know Aspinall's got, I think he's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, but if you look at the other guys in the gym, the strikers, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I feel like well, yeah, because obviously, yeah, a lot of wrestlers have that college wrestling background, don't they? And
Yeah.
it's same, yeah, they come from that sort of grappling, but I feel like you don't really have any sort of base styles
Yeah.
like that in the UK, do you really? Obviously, boxing has traditionally been quite big over here, but that's not really something you don't really see boxing base styles anymore, do you?
We
Really?
don't really have that collegiate foundation to we don't I
No.
don't actually know Grundy's path how he got into wrestling, but I very much doubt he started it in high school. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Whereas the guys in America, it's almost how many top class fighters have got a collegiate wrestling background?
Yeah. Just obviously mod to think like not being American that when you're doing stuff like football and rugby, there's just lads just same age doing like wrestling. It's just sort
Yeah,
of just different, isn't it? It's just different
yeah,
background.
crazy, mate. Yeah, when you think about it, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like you could almost argue socioeconomically they're at an advantage because the funding is in wrestling,
Yeah.
whereas you try and find a high school wrestling program in the UK, you're gonna struggle.
Yeah.
You know.
It was that thing like it. They were like Dagestan. The population's obviously very low, but the number of wrestlers and fighters which come out of there, it's just yeah, different focus, I guess.
Yeah, crazy, mate. Yeah, Dagestan is the ultimate, you know, breeding ground, isn't it? These days, just for not even for competent fighters, for world class upon world class fighters.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Back to Cage Warriors a little bit, but Manny Akpan was once again a lad I've spoken to recently, but something like 3-0 now. Someone I'm quite interested in seeing how he plays because he's quite a different style. I don't know if you've watched any of his fights yet, but
I
he's quite
haven't, to
a
be honest with you.
different like jiu-jitsu based style. And yeah, pulls guard a lot, goes for like yeah, sort of accepts the takedown, pulls guard, goes for triangles, goes for the armbar. It's quite like an entertaining. Uh, yeah, I find it quite a different style compared to a lot of guys, which sort of I think you see a lot of guys which just have just an MMA style of fighting, if you know what I
Mm.
mean, where they're sort of good at all areas. But it's nice seeing someone who fights a little bit differently, if you know what I mean, bit different.
I have a little bit of a soft spot for a specialist. I have a little bit of a soft spot for someone like a
Yeah,
Damian Maia or someone like that, someone who's got their style.
yeah,
I always say, and we'll get back to Cage Warriors, but I always say I would have loved to have seen Damian Maia versus Wonderboy, just the ultimate clash of styles.
yeah,
Someone who does not want to be on the ground versus someone who does not want to be on the feet, and that
yeah.
that that would have been the ultimate to and fro. But I'll keep an eye out on your man. And what night is he fighting?
It's Sunday night, I believe. But yeah, Sunday, I believe. Yeah,
Is it on Cage Warriors?
yeah. It's on the prelims, I think. Yeah,
Oh, okay, I'll have a
yeah,
little look for him.
yeah. Is Damian Maia the best grappler then? MMA grappler for you?
it's difficult to pick anyone else, isn't it? In terms of jiu-jitsu, I mean, the things that guy did to such high level people over and over and over again is just, it's difficult to argue against it.
Yeah. When he fought Ben Askren, and it was obviously grappler, big grappler, and I weren't sure how that was going to turn out, but he just sort of Maia just sort of owned him, really, didn't he?
My favourite Damian Maia fight is the Gunnar Nelson fight. I don't know if you ever watched that, but that was when Gunnar was on the way up, and it was kind of Kenny almost passing of the torch from grappler to grappler, and Damian wasn't going to pass that torch, and just really, I think it ended with two judges out of 30-25. Like it was dominant.
I do feel like that was the end. Yeah, I feel like Askren fight was past his prime at that point.
Yes,
if you know what I mean. I feel like maybe if it was a bit earlier on, it'd have been a bit of a different fight. But yeah, that was good to see.
It wasn't actually that long after the Masvidal fight when you actually think about it. The Masvidal fight was in July, and then that fight was in November.
Yeah. Askren had a really strange career in the UFC. I was like, oh yeah, he like sort of had that weird stoppage over Lawler, then knocked out in like a few seconds, and then just choked out by Damian. That's quite. I'm just thinking about it was actually quite a weird UFC career to have, but
probably the strangest, to be quite honest. For it to be so many, not so much highs, but so many big moments, so many exclamatory moments, and it all be done in a year, in a 12-month and calendar year is crazy.
Then just retires. Yeah.
Then just retired. Yeah.
I'm obviously you said about Wonderboy as well. I feel like the next fight with him and Gilbert Burns, that'll be the title for the next title contender. That one, obviously, whoever comes out on top on that one.
Potentially. You would have to presume if Wonderboy would be more favoured in getting the title fight than Gilbert. If Gilbert wins, he might give him a rematch.
Yeah, I would like to see Wonderboy get it because it feels like we are sort of seeing the same old faces round the top of the welterweight division. It just feels like it's been the same faces for a while now. Like so much so that we're just getting rematches at this point, if you know what I mean. So seeing someone else get it would be interesting.
I'm extremely excited for Luque versus Chiesa. I think that's a fantastic fight, and I feel like I've actually spoke to Luque a couple of times. He's a really nice guy. I feel like Luque should be favoured in that, but at the same time, I don't know if whoever gets the win there, I don't know if they'll be able to push themselves up again, because the top end of welterweight, there's so many people saying I'm not fighting, I'm only fighting for the title, or I'm only fighting you.
Yeah.
And I feel like even with that win over, whoever gets the win there might still be left out.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I've not paid as much attention to Luque as I should have done, but Chiesa, his last fight, was it Neo Magny?
Yes.
He looked incredible in that fight. It just looked like such a miserable experience for Neil. For Neil, just I feel like he was on bottom for most of the fight, weren't he? And it just looked like such a miserable experience fighting him.
I suppose with Chiesa, the obvious worry is that the guys at the top, the likes of Usman, the likes of Covington, whilst he's a great grappler, them guys are probably better than him. So where does he take it if he can't impose his will on the ground? That would be the obvious worry, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's things like no one, as well, are you saying about getting a fight at the top? Because no one wants to fight down at the minute. That's why I do have a lot of respect for someone like Leon, who took the Bilal Muhammad fight when he couldn't get anything else. He was like, well, I've got to fight someone, and like because no one else was taking the fights. But
yeah, it's amazing how much Leon has changed his fan appeal, I think, in the last few months, because he was someone who people thought, I think people thought he felt that he had a sense of entitlement. Rightly so, he went on that win streak, but he was campaigning for a bigger fight, campaigning for a title fight. And then in the end, he was almost like the worm that turned, wasn't it? And he said, I'm going to fight Chimaev. And then that fell through. And then he fought Bilal, which he never had nothing to gain fighting Bilal. And then he's just fought Nate Diaz. And now it's like I feel like people have changed their opinion on Leon quite a lot.
I do feel a bit bad for the lad. Like, still, like, nothing can still go his way there. Even for the fight week leading up to the Nate Diaz fight, I was like, I'm still not going to believe it's happening till like they're both in the octagon.
I say he was the most unlucky fighter in terms of the pandemic, because even if you think about that show that he was meant to headline the 20th of March, he was the headliner. And let's be honest, he was probably meant to beat Woodley in London.
Yeah,
It was meant to be his coming out party, and it gets cancelled, a couple of days before, and then he
yeah.
doesn't fight since. He has 3 bookings with
If
Chimaya.
he'd beat Woodley as well, straight on for the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Because Burns got a title fight off beating Woodley, because at that point
yeah,
Woodley hadn't lost 4 in a row. He'd lost 1. So
yeah.
it's a different Woodley beating that Woodley.
And Covington's still sitting on that Woodley, that Woodley victory, claiming it's the yeah. Is there
Big
any
time.
of it? Sorry, go on.
No, come on.
I was just gonna see if there's any other any other fights on Cage Warriors this weekend you're looking forward to that you want to talk about, mate.
I will sign off with my good friend Justin Bernson, who, I'm not saying this because I know him. I'm not saying this because I've seen him train. Joe, I'm telling you now, he is an absolute beast. He is an absolute beast. He is fantastic in all areas of the game. His striking is unbelievable. His wrestling is unbelievable, and his jiu-jitsu is unbelievable. And he's had, in his career, he's had 5 pro fights, and he's had 6 cancelled fights. He's actually had more cancelled fights than he has fights that have gone through. He's been really unlucky, and it's 2 years to the day today.
Why is that,
Since
do
his
you know?
last fight.
Oh,
He's had COVID and had to pull out. His opponents had COVID and had to pull out. A show was
yeah,
cancelled because of COVID. He's been really unlucky. His last fight was an 8-second knockout on Bellator. He is, trust me when I say he's in a good fight this weekend against a French lad, but I think he announces himself to the world.
yeah. So this is the lad fighting out of Next Gen as well, isn't it?
No, he's in my gym. He's in Four Corners.
Oh, sorry,
He's
I thought, yeah, sorry, yeah,
no Justin and Jack are 2 main training partners.
yeah. Obviously, good trade, yeah, good sparring there. Like, who's
Yeah,
yeah, got a lot of was he on his hype train as well? Who was the previous opponent at Bellator? Do you know?
as I say, it was 2 years ago. I can't remember the guy's
Yeah,
name, but they literally, the bell rings, they square off, and Justin hits him with a right hook and he falls.
yeah,
It's Masvidal knee territory.
yeah. No, I'll make sure I'm paying attention to it, man.
I think
Looking
he
forward to
is.
it.
I think he's either co-main or the third to last fight on Friday.
Yeah,
But he's honestly, I'm not saying it to blow smoke. He's very, very talented.
yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it, man. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on for a chat, mate. Been on for a
No,
few
mate.
different, been on for a few different tangents, like, but it's been good. It's been good.
It happens, mate. It happens. I appreciate the time, and thanks for inviting me on.